25, 40, run, William, run! He's got blockers in front, 5, touchdown! Joshua Cribbs! Snap back, ball down, kick block! They block the kick!
This is the Oranges, Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I am your host, Chase Smith, and with me, as always, Browns insider Jeremy Powell. Jeremy, it's time for some football, baby. Let's get back on the field.
Let's go. The Browns are getting healthy. The bye week came at just the right time, and I'm excited to see what happens Sunday.
And boy, are we getting healthy. And joining us, she's your favorite and our favorite Emmy-nominated digital content producer at News Channel 5, among other things, Cameron Justice. Cameron, healthy seems to be the name of the game today.
You love to see it. It's so exciting getting these guys back out there. We've been waiting for weeks. It's finally here.
I tell you what, it's very exciting. Well, Cameron, I want to kick things off with you in our preview episode. Cameron, your keys to the game if we want to come away with a victory against the Houston Texans, led by Romeo Crennel this week on Sunday. Cameron, give us your keys to the game.
All right. Well, the first key is going to be the toughest for the Browns to do. It's contained to Deshaun Watson. The secondary is going to have to try to find a way to step it up this week. And that's really the challenge for the Browns. The linebacker and safety core, they've been the Browns' most glaring weakness through the past 8 games. Houston, led by Watson, they're making explosive plays. That's what they do, right? And that's kind of the worry here with the Browns. Last week, Watson threw for 281 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He rushed for 50 yards of his own. And he's got Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller at his disposal. I mean, it's going to be tough for them. And they can get the ball moving on the ground with Deshaun Watson helping them. But honestly, the Browns, what they're going to have to do, what they want him to do, is hold on to that ball for as long as possible. Get Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon, get them the opportunity to get in there and the chance to make big plays, take him down. And that's the first key. That's where you got to start. And that's the hardest one. The second key, a little bit of a given. Baker Mayfield, now that he's got these guys, we know that they're healthy. We're getting a lot of guys back out there, especially on the offense. You got to spread the ball around. We've seen it all season. Baker's at his best when he's able to utilize all of his offensive weapons, right? The bye week provided that much needed time for the Browns to get healthy. Austin Hooper's coming back. Hopefully we get Nick Chubb back. And then even on the offensive line, Wyatt Teller's coming back. This is all depending on the final decision on Friday, but if these guys come back, Mayfield has that ability to thrive under the play action that we see him really, really look his best under. Get that ball moved around using all of his offensive weapons, using the tight ends. I want to see Harrison Bryant out there. I want to see, Rashard Higgins. I always love to see him out there. Jarvis Landry is feeling good and he's ready to go on Sunday. So moving that ball around and utilizing everybody that they can, really, really big. And the third key is the most obvious. It's the one I always say, run the damn ball. I mean, it's that easy. It's that simple, clear cut. Not only is Nick Chubb expected back, but Wyatt Teller is too. The Browns have been severely missing that 1-2 punch, of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Now you've got both of them. You've been able to do it. But you also have Teller, who's really crucial in establishing that run game. And Chris Hubbard, he's done great. I don't want to take that away from him, but Wyatt Teller is the game changer. That's the key you need to establish that run game early. If you don't realize how crucial he is, this season, the Browns have averaged 6.8 yards per carry with Teller on the field. Now, without him, they've averaged just 3.9 yards per carry. So it's very, very starkly different how important Wyatt Teller is on the field. You get him back, you return back here this week, you got Nick Chubb, you got Wyatt Teller, then you got Kareem Hunt in the backfield. They're not 100%, but it's good to go. You can establish this against one of the worst, if not the worst. I think they are actually the worst team in the league against the run. You've got the possibility of rainy and windy weather. To add to that, establish that run game. There you go. There's your offense. You've got the game.
Seems like a definite recipe for success. Pretty standard. Contained Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield spread the ball and running the damn ball. Jeremy, you are our resident locksmith. How do those keys sound to come away with a victory against the Houston Texans?
I agree with all of them, but like she said, it's easier said than done. Deshaun Watson has torched us in the past. We have trouble with running quarterbacks. They do have explosive weapons on the outside. They're going to be hampered a little bit in the running game. David Johnson won't be there, but our old buddy Duke Johnson will fill in, and I'm sure Duke will be chomping at the bit to have a big game. So yeah, their offense worries me. They're going to score some points on us. It's going to be a matter of, can we outscore them? Can we control the ball? Can we control possessions? I think we will be able to. It's funny, the weather evolves so much in Cleveland. I just now checked while you guys were talking, and they actually have just said it's probably going to clear out by game time, but we're looking at 30 to 35 mile per hour winds again. So that this week should benefit the Browns, as Cameron said, playing against, I don't know how their rush defense is worse than the Cowboys, but on paper it is. So they're without their top running back. We will be hopefully back with our top running back and Kareem Hunt and possibly Wyatt Teller. So I think a very windy day again down at the stadium will benefit the Browns. We just have to find a way to contain Deshaun Watson, which is easier said than done. I think, though, I think the Browns, I know that Coach Stefanski said he doesn't like to plan offense to defense. He likes to just score as many points as they can. But I think there's going to have to be a little of that this week, a little bit of offense to set up the defense, a little bit of clock management, a little bit of taking the air out of the ball. Because I just don't think you want to get in a track meet with Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller, and Brandon Cooks. I don't think that's the way to win this week. I think they do need to control time possession. They do need to take the air out of the ball, get a timely stop, maybe a big play out of Miles, who from what I hear and what I read is healthy and going to be 100% for the game. It's like we talked about with Zach a little bit. That's probably the most unheralded moment of the unheralded performance in the first half, is just that Myles Garrett, you could say that he literally won 2 games with strip sacks that changed momentum and changed field position and got us points. So we need a big play out of Myles, a timely stop, control the ground game. And I think the Browns will win this game.
Looking at the Texans schedule, week 1 was the Chiefs rookie Carlos Hyde-Hair. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't even know how you pronounce it. But that was his best game, his first game as a rookie. The Chiefs ran all over the Texans. They played the Ravens, the Steelers, the Vikings. I don't know if Dalvin Cook was injured then. It might have been his return. But then they played the Titans, the Packers. So they've played a lot of really good running football teams. And so, I mean, teams that run the football well. They barely beat Jacksonville 27-25. They've gone through a lot of turmoil, kind of like, I don't want to say a mutiny from the inside, but it sure looks like at the start of the season, no one wanted to be playing for the Houston Texans, and they only were playing because they had to. Obviously, their coach traded away the best receiver, Deshaun Hopkins, for a basket of bolts. Didn't make anyone happy. And Romeo Crennel is coming. This is a homecoming game. Romeo Crennel is going to be coaching the Texans. And then, as you guys mentioned, Duke Johnson, who said yesterday or today that his memories are cold, which I'm sure has a very layered meaning, weather and probably his time with the Browns. I don't know. I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think it does favor the Browns with the weather and our running attack and having everyone back healthy. It kind of feels like week 1 again. It kind of feels like, oh, we got a team, and let's kind of see what happens. Cameron, you got like week 1 vibes going on?
Week 1 vibes, but a little bit more optimistic, because the week 1 matchup was a little bit different than this one. I feel like this is a very optimistic, almost like how could they manage to lose this game almost? I know that the Texans, they play competitively. They're not a team to sleep on. You don't want to sleep on them. You got to not look at their record. But, I mean, they've got all the pieces that make this the Browns game. This is the Browns game to win.
The Texans, not to step on the toes of our game preview coming up, the Texans actually the Texans have only won 2 games, Jeremy.
Right.
But if the Browns want to continue to position themselves for the playoffs, this is a must-win game for the Browns, right? I mean, this has huge playoff implications.
They absolutely have to win. It is kind of funny. We were talking about Dallas and Houston being the 2 worst rush defenses in the league. They are the worst by 10 yards. Dallas gives up 158 yards rushing a game. Houston gives up 159 yards rushing a game. Yeah. I mean, that is awful in the NFL. Detroit is 30th, and they are 10 yards 10 yards better. So that we can definitely take advantage of that. And absolutely, it does feel like, you talked a little bit about it feeling like a new beginning. It kind of does, because we've missed a couple weeks. We're 5-3. We are in the playoff hunt, obviously, no doubt about it. It should be an interesting, fun game, but I think the Browns will impose their will, and I think they will be able to run the ball.
Our victory against the Colts looming large with our chances for the playoffs. Our loss to the Raiders is going to come back and kind of make things challenging. That game was a huge game, and bummer that we were decimated by injuries. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back to talk about our game preview.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Books like Stephen King's The Shining or Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. If you're on the hunt for book recommendations and enjoy sparkling conversation, come read along with us, and then listen in.
Hey, the Roadman Kenny Rhoda. Join me and Dennis Maniloff on the Next Man Up podcast as we look at all the teams in the Buckeye State, the Browns, the Indians, the Cavaliers, the Buckeyes, and whatever's happening, we'll be talking about it here on the Next Man Up podcast.
Hey, it's JD from the Hyman Podcast. Using a narrative storytelling approach, the Hyman Podcast was created to start conversations that need to be human. Week by week, I'll break down walls and barriers and make people wildly uncomfortable, all the while giving a voice to the voiceless and the marginalized. Consider this your personal invitation to be part of that conversation.
All right, everyone, let's look at our game preview here. Let's talk about what time we're going to play, when we're going to play, how we're going to play, and what's going to happen. Sunday, 1 p.m. kickoff at home again at First Energy Stadium. The Browns have 2 home games after the bye. They've had a whole month at home. The Raiders, the bye week, and now 2 straight games at home. The scheduling gods again in the Browns' favor. Your Cleveland Browns are 5-3 for the first time since 2014. Cameron, Jeremy, do you know what happened the rest of the year in 2014? We lost 6 of 7.
Yeah, I did know that. Thank you for reminding us.
What? No way.
That out of my memory.
No way. Coming off a bye. This is if Stefanski is a good hire, is a good coach, this will help let all the fans know and the team. This is an important must-win game for Stefanski. Browns 5. The Texans are 2-6, massively underperforming. Deshaun Watson is supposed to be a star quarterback in this league, supposed to be a foundational quarterback where you can build. He's had a lot of turmoil, a lot of adversity, almost as if he would be a Cleveland Brown. And he very well could have been, but he's not. They're 2-6. Really no chance in that division at all. Really no playoff shot as well. If the Texans want to make a run, it's got to start this Sunday in Cleveland. The Browns are 3-1 at home. The Texans are 0-4 against the spread with away games. We last met in Houston in 2018. The Texans thrashed the Browns and newly crowned QB Baker Mayfield. It wasn't even close. And still the story leads in this game are Watson versus Baker. Check this out. Deshaun Watson has a 108.7 QB passer rating this year, the highest for any quarterback ever with a losing record in the Super Bowl era with 8 games. So of all the sucky teams, Deshaun Watson has the highest QBR of all the sucky teams ever recorded since they've been started to do this. It's from NFL.com. So I don't know if it's so much Deshaun Watson's fault. And I think he still is dangerous, Cameron, as you mentioned at the jump. Number one thing, we have to contain Deshaun Watson. You look at the stats, these teams are very, very similar, just kind of like the Raiders and just kind of like the Colts. The Browns are averaging 25.8 points a game. The Texans 24.1. The Browns are giving up 29.6. The Texans 30.3. The Texans are allowing, as Jeremy mentioned, 159.5 rushing yards per game. And that seems to be kind of like the area of attack the Browns need to focus on. The injury report looks pretty good for actually both teams, aside from just some nagging injuries in the Browns O-line and David Johnson. It seems, everybody, that we're going to have a healthy squad going into Sunday. Jeremy, do you know the line of this game?
No idea. Like I said, I make a point not to look. I'm going to say Browns by 3.5.
Ooh, you nailed it.
Nice.
There we go.
You nailed it. Cameron, you want to give us a little preview of what you're going to pick?
I have to pick the Browns on this one.
Yeah.
You heard my keys? I got to pick the Browns. I got to go with them.
Got to pick the Browns.
Low points on the spread. I can't.
Yeah, I think it's like 48.5, I think is the point spread in the game.
The over under, that's a high number too. With weather.
With the weather, yeah. So I think taking the Browns for sure. There's no question in my mind. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me, but there's no reason the Browns can't take this one.
Yeah, I'm in a pick against the spread league, and we pick 5 games a week. And I've never picked the Browns this season. I just can't do it. I've just been too scared, and there've been other games I like better. But this week I am picking the Browns for the first time to cover the spread. So I'm either going to be really, really happy or really, really, really angry when we record our recap.
See, that's why you always pick the opposite. That way, at least there's a consolation prize if they lose.
See,
right?
I can't do that. That's so bad. I can't even draft or play players in fantasy if they're on any other AFC
neither.
North team.
I have never drafted a Steeler or a Raven in fantasy.
No Bengals,
I
no
just can't
Steelers,
do
no
it.
Ravens. No matter what I need in my
I'll do
team,
Bengals, but
I cannot do it. I just cannot do it. It's been so bad. There's a team that auto draft for me. I have dropped players and traded for trash just because I just
to get them off your roster.
It's true.
Oh,
It's
that's
true.
great. That's
true.
dedication, my man.
I
I
That is
love the
do it.
dedication. I'm here for that.
do
I
too.
can't say
Can't
the
do it.
same. But
Jeremy, what are some narratives that we're going to see from this game?
I think you nailed the big one, which is the Deshaun Watson versus Baker Mayfield angle. And like you said, Deshaun Watson, nothing that's happened this year with the Texans is his fault. His numbers have been phenomenal. He's played phenomenal. It's just, he can't play defense. That's a big one. I think another big one will be is does Nick Chubb play, which he wants to play? He's made it clear. He said it's not up to him at this point. I think he will play. But does Nick Chubb play? How much does he play? And how healthy and how good does he look? I think are two big narratives.
Yep. Cameron, what narratives will you write after this game? You're
Oh,
the one who
man.
controls some of these conversations.
all right, let me get my notes out and let me see which angles I want to hit. No, honestly, I mean, Jeremy hit the one. I think that if Nick Chubb is able to play, and he does even just like limited touches, I mean, if you see him just come out the gate explosive, I think that narrative is, oh, yeah, the Browns do have the best running back in the league. And this is what the team has been missing. Like, he's been hurting. I think another one could be if they do something, if the Browns secondary can contain something. It's either one way or the other. If the Browns secondary can, like, make some plays and look a little good, like, okay, maybe they're workable. Here are the core pieces. We already know which players have really shown up, the Ronnie Harrisons. It's hard and Denzel Ward, but it's hard to name any other one. So if they're able to step up, maybe, these are the guys that the Browns are going to bank on. And if they aren't able to step up, maybe it's, the narrative is who the Browns can target in the draft and free agents. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. I think but I do think the defense is going to, the more they play, the more people are going to start talking about how bad they have been and what they need to improve.
Yeah, that's you're already seeing a lot of that. Interesting, already gearing ahead to the offseason and draft. Would that be with the Browns loss? You'd kind of start seeing some of those conversations,
yeah, I think,
Cameron?
If they weren't able to get this win, I think that's when the ball starts, because then you start shifting away. If you don't get the win, you shift away from the playoff talks, and then what's next? Then the only thing left to discuss is what they're going to do next, and that comes with the draft. Hopefully, that's not the case. I can just see that being that's going to be one of the early narratives you see if the Browns lose in that kind of fashion.
I'm not throwing you in this, Cameron, but there always has to be a scapegoat, and someone always has to be to blame. And I think I don't know if we lose this game because of Baker, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how that forms. Who is going to carry the brunt of that? OBJ's not out there. He's not going to be causing us to lose, right? Baker, I don't know what you can do in 30 miles per hour winds. I don't know. It will be fascinating to kind of watch how that unfolds. I think that the big narrative after this, I think we're going to win. I think the big narrative is going to be Browns and playoffs. I think you're going to start seeing scenarios, how we get in. I think you're going to start seeing, hey, who do we root against? What do we need to happen for us to really secure some of these seedings? You're going to start looking at, well, hey, this could happen. This is who we could play. This is who we could play. This is what this could look like. This is what the matchups look like. I know it's going to be week 11. We still have 2 months to go, but I think you're going to start seeing some of those articles being written. And I think it's okay to get excited. I think we as Browns fans have waited so long for it to be Thanksgiving to talk playoffs. Right. All of a sudden, we're not talking about who we're watching to draft. It's who do we need to lose to help our playoff seeding, or who do we want to play in the playoffs, or what chance do we have in the playoffs, or how will Baker be in the playoffs? I can't wait to see Nick Chubb run in the playoffs or Kareem Hunt in the playoffs. All of a sudden, these conversations that we've never had before, that we've never been able to have, that never had the privilege to have, all of a sudden, I think we're going to start having them. And it's going to be after this week. And I'm here for it, guys. It is. I mean, I'm getting pumped right now just thinking about it. Your Cleveland Browns 6-3. I think like that's That's insane. And I'm
Yeah.
just really, really pumped. Is that too far fetched, Jeremy?
No, not at all. I mean, look, they're playing a 2-6 team. It's just getting out there and making the plays. I think Cameron's right though. I think if we do lose this game and if we score points, it's just going to be the focus is going to turn to defense. I mean, you got 2 second-round draft picks right now that can't get on the field from LSU. You know, if they lose this game, the narrative is going to shift quickly to the offseason and the plan to rebuild the defense. The offense might need some minor tweaks, but if the offense keeps doing what it's doing and the defense lets them down the stretch, that's what the narrative is for sure going to be. But I think you're right. I think they win this game. I think if Nick Chubb plays, they control the ball enough, they score enough points in the weather to win the game, and then it's all playoffs and it's all fun for the next few weeks.
You know, Cameron, I feel like if it does gravitate towards the defense, it's more of an indictment on John Dorsey, right? Like, it's not like we've had a lot of time to do anything. Like, I say we, like the current front office. Like,
Sure.
This is a huge indictment on John Dorsey in his like 2 or 3 drafts with us not being able to provide any depth, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's who this falls on.
I think that will be a lot of, he'll get a lot of the blame, but I do think with those narratives will come the questioning of Joe Woods.
Mm-hmm.
And not that it's completely warranted, but he's already getting a lot of slack.
Joe Woods, and why didn't we make any moves at the deadline or do anything?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so Andrew Berry will fall to that. Well, why didn't you pick up this guy?
Mm-hmm.
They got him for a 6th-round pick. They got him. I mean, that's a fair assessment to make. You want them to add depth when they can. But I do. And to Joe Woods' credit, he's great at what he does. It's just, you maybe got to give him time. So I don't think that the narrative should so much fall heavily on them, but I do think that they will. You'll tend to see some of those just like popping up, then the doubts of them creeping up will start to appear in these these narratives.
Yeah, but Jeremy, how bad were John Dorsey's drafts?
We'll really have to go back and look at it. I mean, you did get possibly 2 cornerstones with Baker and Denzel, when a lot of people thought both those picks were bad picks. Mm-hmm. So you can't say they were all terrible. I mean, we'll really have to go back and pick through it in the coming months and see. But I think Zach nailed it the other day, and we've talked about it before, that they really focused on the offense. They put all their assets this year into the offense. Mm-hmm. And I think they kind of knew it. And if you remember the stories when Grant Delpit went down and Joe Wood said he's the only guy they had that could do what they wanted to do at that position. So they're going to have to alter how the defense is played. So maybe you haven't really seen the defense that Joe Woods really wants to play yet. And maybe we'll see a little more of that next year when they get the personnel in they need. I mean, he can only do so much with the hands he's dealt. He likes to put pressure. Olivier Vernon had a good game the last game, but he's been a little bit down. You haven't got much out of your D-line outside of Miles. So I think, and obviously his defense, they talked about it earlier, requires kind of a dynamic safety that they just don't have currently. So I think you get Joe Woods gets a pass on this year, no matter what happens. And then next year, once they put some of the assets they have into that defense, we can have, a better read on what we have with Joe Woods as defensive coordinator.
Yeah. I think Dorsey's going to get a lot of this blame. I think they're going to deflect, and you're going to start seeing, like, they don't want to carry any of the blame for not making the playoffs when this is their window. Like, why do they want to carry that? I think they have a scapegoat in hand, and I would dump it all on Dorsey. He's not even here to defend himself. It's the perfect way for you to get a couple more years out of your team. Let's jump to my favorite part of our preview episodes, the bold predictions. My favorite. Cameron, give me one bold prediction for our 1 p.m. Week 10 matchup at home against the Texans.
All right, let's see what we got. All right, Nick Chubb comes back, right?
Yes.
Nick Chubb plays.
Yes.
Nick Chubb breaks 100 yards.
Yes.
On his first game back from injury.
Yes. What else?
That's pretty
big because he'll probably only get 15, 16 carries.
Yeah.
How about the fact that Nick Chubb still leads the league and runs over 20 yards?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
He hasn't played in a month. Yeah. And he's still first in the league and runs over 20 yards. Absolutely incredible. I agree with Cameron. I think what's going to happen, though, I think it's going to be back to the 1-2 punch. And I think the Browns are going to go over 200 yards rushing total as a team. And they're going to get in the end zone 3 times. You're going to see about 33 combined carries between Chubb and Hunt, and they're both going to run wild. And the Browns are going to win, and those two are both going to have big games.
See, I hear that and I love it, and that doesn't seem bold to me. That seems like what is going to happen.
But they're coming back from injury, Chase. That's really big.
He's probably only going to get 15 carries if he goes over 100 yards.
Like, why would
he
you?
might not play. He's not even listed as fully
officially yet. He
So
has
come
to get He still has to be officially active, which I think they will. And if you listen to him talk, he wants to play. But I think he said it, and he said it himself, right? Hey, it's not up to me at this point.
Yeah,
if it was up to him, he'd be playing. He'll play.
That's bold, Chase. That's bold.
All right.
Don't doubt my boldness.
Here, okay. You're right. Here's my bold prediction. It's twofold because I gotta talk about our guy Duke Johnson. Here's my bold prediction. We have a fullback touchdown in Jankovic. I think he'll get his first touchdown this game. And I think Duke Johnson's going to have 2 fumbles.
You're just coming at him, huh?
Duke Johnson had so many fumbles when he played for the Browns.
Yeah, I guarantee you he comes off injured and sometime during the game, but then he comes back in.
That is also true. He cannot hold on to the football. And I think we're going to see that again. It's classic Duke. And he's going to have 2 fumbles, and we're going to get a fullback touchdown. That is a bold prediction.
There you go.
I would say just 1 fumble, but that's not bold.
So 2.
That's fair. You gotta go 2. Yeah.
Gotta go 2. Gotta go 2. We want to just thank you.
I'll be charting it.
Yeah, chart it. Do that. We just want to say thank you so much for downloading and listening to this podcast. We have so much fun, and we hope that when you listen to this, whether it's in the car, at the gym, at home, maybe Sunday morning before the game, it just gets you excited, and we just want you to enjoy the game. And if our insight or analysis helps, hey, that's awesome. So thank you so much for downloading and listening. We really do appreciate it. I want to thank Cameron and Jeremy for making time out of the week, twice a week to do this. It is a ton of fun. You guys are the best. And I'm just so lucky to do this with you guys. I want to say thanks. Cameron, any final thoughts?
It's a blast doing this. I always have fun. I always love talking Browns, especially with you guys and hearing your bold takes, Chase. It's like my favorite part of the week, just seeing how crazy they get. No, but I think that this could be the start of a really hot streak for the Browns. And I'm really excited to get in there, see what they're able to do, and hopefully come out with another Victory Monday. I've been waiting now for 2 weeks. I haven't had my Victory Monday wine. It's time.
I feel like the fullback touchdown is pretty subdued. Like that's not like that's overdue. He hasn't scored yet this year. I feel like it's
overdue, but it's still bold because how many people you have to get the ball to? I mean, are you really going to give it to him?
Yeah.
No
Jeremy,
offense to him.
any final thoughts, bro?
Yes, sir. I agree with Cameron. This is a pivotal game. This game is going to go one way or another after this week. If we win, it's going to be joyous. We're going to be talking playoffs. We got all the momentum rolling into Philadelphia coming into town next week. If we lose, we probably do start looking to the offseason just a little bit. So this is a pivotal game, a game the Browns can and should win. Deshaun Watson scares me, but it's a game the Browns should win. They should be able to control the ground. So I just think we win this game and we have a bunch of fun going on.
All right. We will catch you guys early next week with hopefully a victory recap. You guys have a great weekend.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Let's get it.